What's going on, guys? My name is Matt Freeman. I like to talk a lot, and I have missed all of my garden update videos because this is my little puppy. I just kept forgetting about recording one, but I figured right now, I was out here looking at everything, let's get everybody a quick rundown of what and how everything went for this first growing season of mine. Izzy, come here. Come over here. No, Izzy, you stepping on stuff. Stop it. So, we had the three things that we went for. Izzy, sit down. So, the three things that we went for, which was initially the, so we went through three separate stages of growth, which was growing in the ground, growing in hydroponics, henceforth why you hear water in the background, or aquaponics technically, and then one growing them in pots instead of like in the soil, just the ground. The ones that grew in the ground did pretty good. I mean, obviously. The thing I forgot about, which it's not a problem and it doesn't cause any problems, but all of the seeds that I purchased in the beginning of the year were all called Space Maker plants, and I wasn't even thinking about it when I bought them. It wasn't until I got them and started growing them that things started making realizations to me in my brain that, look at these are my cucumber plants, okay? So if anybody's ever truly seen a cucumber plant before, you know that they should be much taller than just this. I mean, this plant is inches off the ground. It's maybe like 6 inches off the ground. Same with these two. It just got ash on that one. But you can totally see that they are flowering. Those will all become cucumbers, and they're tiny, and that's the point. Is they're supposed to be small plants that grow in areas where you can't particularly grow like a full-size cucumber plant. And so what they do is the plant grows really, really small, but flowers really quickly, and henceforth how you get 6-inch tall plants with flowers, because they're going to flower in cucumber. Now I'll show you I've got different results for like every plant and every container that I go, or everything that I'm about to show you through here. But this is the first potato plant. It grew relatively tall. I think it's almost time to harvest. They say it's 120 days, and mine's been about probably 2 or 3 weeks shy of that. I kind of already dug up a little bit underneath of it to check on, see if I could find potatoes, in which I found one that was like this big around. So I don't know if it's because I did it wrong. You're supposed to pile dirt up on the bottom of the plant as the plant grows up, because the little nubules that grow off of the bottom of the plant will just grow leaves. But if you cover them up with dirt, they produce more potatoes. And I didn't know that, obviously, until now, after months of already growing potatoes. So pretty much learning that I did potatoes wrong. But they tell you that the key way of figuring out whether or not your potato plants need picked or not is if they begin to turn yellow. And you can see these leaves are slowly starting to turn yellow, like the plant's dying. They've already flowered, and they're slowly starting to die. Most people wait until the plant is actually like completely dead before they pick out the potatoes. So I'm just going to wait a while, because like I said, my potatoes don't really look like they grew very big, or the ones I found don't look like they grew very big. But I don't want to pick them early and end up getting a bunch of tiny ass little potatoes. So I'm going to let them grow. On top of this here, this is a second potato. This one is out of season in theory, because it's the same as this potato plant, but this one is really small. This is its biggest branch right here, and it's got a lot of little baby ones down here at the bottom. It really just started growing like profusely recently, like last month or two. It's really started to blow up. So I think it's just behind. I think this one got planted and was already, these things were already sticking out of the ground. Right here, the little parts of the plant. This is where the old potato was at, and they had these little things still already sticking out of the ground, and that's what grew these plants, or these huge ass plants here. And then we move over. We got my green beans. Green beans are on the same basis. Potatoes are the only thing that I bought and put in that weren't space savers. Well, that and corn, but so everything else is a space saver plant. These green beans are space savers. So if you can see, I can't really see what you're looking at because the way I have to record my phone. But this plant again is maybe only 8 inches tall, and it's got 1 green bean on it. This plant in the back's maybe like a foot tall. It's got 1 big green or 2 green beans on it, but I've also already picked a couple off of this one. Same with this back one here. You can see there's 2 bigger ones right here. Right down there. Actually, there's 3-4 of them on that plant. There's just a few of these plants laying around here. And again, I just tried to grow as many of everything as I could, but when I realized that the plants don't grow very big, henceforth they don't grow very much fruit or vegetables. You know, these are plants that, like, to one person, if you were one person in the household and you wanted to grow something small and like a very small garden, they would literally be perfect for you. You could use next to no dirt. They would grow perfectly fine, and each plant would probably produce 10 to 12 green beans for you. But being as I was trying to technically grow enough for like me and my family, ending up with like 30 green beans when they all were produced really isn't that huge of an excitement. So yeah, those are the 3 plants that grew in the ground. I tried to plant many others, but for some reason nothing ever worked. I don't know what it is, but something about this back corner here, under here where this ladder is, that back corner right there, I planted 3 different kinds of lettuce. I planted corn, and I planted something else, and all 3 of them never grew. So I have no idea why this area over here, I don't know if the soil's too acidy or doesn't get enough sun or what it is, but yeah, for some reason that spot right over there never grew anything. And then fortunately I'm glad that the cucumbers grew right here because that's kind of close. And then, you know, you got potatoes and you got green beans. And then to show you the next step was the Aquaponics Farm. And next to the Aquaponics Farm we have ourselves an adorable little dog who's hiding from me because I yelled at her. Don't be sad, puppy. You're just not listening. You was walking in the street and stuff. This is my aquaponics farm. Aquaponics Farm did way worse than what I was hoping for, but there's something on it that did fantastic. So, first off, if you look here, we have this beautiful blade of grass. This was, these were all lettuce. So as you can see, these are lettuces they're growing. These are the lettuces that I was growing in my hydroponics farm. As you can see, they have a very large root system. You got a nice little selection of lettuce there. We got another little one down here. You can see those are onions. That's onions. That's the container where the water goes, where the fish are at. Here's my baby. This is the one thing that excites me the most when it comes to my aquaponics farm. Look at the size of these things. These are 2 cucumber plants that I planted. Well, technically, this right here in the center, right here, this is a green bean plant that's being suffocated by the cucumber plant. But these are 2 cucumber plants I planted. Literally, if we just put our hand right here, this little bit right here, this is 1 plant. Everything behind it is all one whole other plant. This is all 1 plant back here. The cucumbers grew fantastically, especially being small crop. They grew fantastically in the water. And on top of that, if you look, let's see if I can get this good angle here. There it is. You see that? That right there is 1 massive cucumber already growing. It's pretty wide. It's wider than my thumb. It's about the size of my thumb. And next to it, really small, right here, is another baby cucumber growing. So we already have 2 cucumbers growing in our aquaponics farm, which is amazing because They have been in the aquaponics system the same amount of time that the ones in the ground have been in. And the aquaponic farm actually grew and produced cucumbers compared to the ones in the ground just grew. And even though they flowered, they have yet to actually produce any cucumbers. This here is my attempt to get a blueberry bush to root itself out of a branch, which, you know, I'd say isn't working, but I have other ones that I've also tried with other methods and to get the same thing done, and it has not worked out. So this is the only one that really seems like it's making any progress. This little plant right here that you see sticking up out of the corner, this is a green bean plant that died and got washed downstream. As you can see, it's still got roots in it, but it was dead, and when I was moving some things around the other day, it fell into the stream and got washed down underneath of this board here. And actually, surprisingly enough, it regrew. It's even got a little bud like it wants to put a green bean in there. So aquaponics failed. My fish survived, but majority of the plants didn't survive because they weren't designed correctly, or the concept of them wasn't designed correctly to actually survive in the aquaponic farm. But then ironically, out of everything, the cucumbers were actually set up exactly the way they needed to be set up to grow. And then last but not least, which we need to make this short because I have no idea how much space I have left on this phone, is my pots. And to be honest, out of everything that I've grown this year, the pots did the best. I have no idea. I don't know if it's because everything I picked was meant to be for small areas or whatnot, but I really wish I would have gotten a picture of this. This is a bonsai tree that I had inside my dragon's cage. I removed it from his cage literally about a month ago. It had no leaves on it. Like, I'm not even joking with you. This thing was completely bare because my dragon's a herbivore, so he eats plants, and so he eats the leaves off this tree. He really likes the leaves on this tree, and so he ate all the leaves off of it. He had ate all the leaves off of it, and I removed it from his cage because I knew it was still alive. It just had no chance to grow leaves because every time one sprouted, he'd just nip it up real quick. So I took it out, put it back into its own little pot, and literally after a month, this much leaf foliage has grown. So I'm really happy about that. This is my potato plant that's done extremely successful. This is the bottom. We go all the way to the top. It's a pretty big plant. Actually, it's not even the top all the way. This is the top all the way. But, also, you know, leaves are starting to kind of die out. Also, kind of dug down into the pot down here a little bit, kind of see what we had, and really, I couldn't find any potatoes. So again, I don't know if I messed it up because I didn't add any more dirt in there, or if it's fine. Izzy, stop it. I got these carrots that actually these carrots here have been planted since these carrots there have been planted since winter of last year. Like, I'm not even kidding. I grew these inside my house. These carrots here. I started growing these in the middle of winter last year, and they're still growing and sprouting. So that means that I've probably got a whole entire pot full of little carrots. This is my lettuce bucket, which has actually done fantastic and has actually supplied me with salads. These are little onions that grew in the middle, so it's just nice to kind of, you know, get a couple of those, throw them in the salad, add a little bit more flavor. But I mean, look at these leaves. They have all grown. Like I said, I've already trimmed these down once, cut off what I needed for a salad once, and now it's grown back again where I've got a whole nother salad waiting for me. This here is another example of me trying to get the blueberry bush to to root itself out of a branch. This is a much bigger branch. It's just in this big container full of water. This here is a little baby tree that I'm manipulating into turning into another bonsai I can possibly use for my dragon. It's pretty long, but it's growing good as shit. I got it last fall, or last spring. The very beginning of spring, I got this tree, And again, it had a few leaves on it, but it was dying because it was in a pot that had no way of drainage, so it was pretty much drowning in all the water. So I took it out of that and put it in a different pot, and it's grown perfectly ever since. This is my one green bean plant that did amazing compared to every other one. It's probably about 1.5 feet tall. It doesn't have any green beans on it, but ironically, I'm not even kidding with you, the one green bean I got from here went from the top up here, where my tip of my finger is. Where's my finger? Oh, you see. So like literally about right here where this first ring is, and it went all the way down and touched dirt at the bottom. So the green bean that grew on this plant, on this like 1.5 foot plant, was literally about 8 inches tall. Just the one green bean. So I have no idea why this green bean decided to grow better than all the others I've ever had. And it's funny enough, it literally only was grown inside of this little coffee thing. That's what I was saying. It's weird. I planted plants in the ground, which is where they're supposed to go, and they grew like shit. And then I planted plants inside of pots, and they grew amazing. Which is like, huh, why is it that the little ones all grew like amazing, but the rest suck? These are 3 baby trees I tried to start. I found them hiding in my yard. This is just a little oak tree. This is a little bigger oak tree. And then this is a pine tree in the back. I found them and decided, fuck it, let's try to get them to stay alive too. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have anything else that's growing, really. Yeah, well, that is it. So that's my garden update. I apologize that it's been literally like 2.5 months after my first garden update. I was trying to do this more monthly so I could actually like physically record and or see myself the evolution of the growth of each plant. But like I said, I fucked up, and every time that I would think about, oh shit, I need to make a video, it would be way long after the fact, or it would be somewhere where I was nowhere near anywhere to record a video for you guys. So I just get to the point where I kept forgetting and never being around the right place at the right time, or it being dark by the time I get home and come out here to look at everything. So I said I was just looking at everything this morning and thought, well, you know, I could just record that video now since I am thinking about it. This is my last one. This is a tree from China. This little pine tree right here. I've got multiple of them growing in my house. I purchased the seeds from China and had them delivered to my house 2 years ago, and they're white pine trees. Chinese white pine is actually really expensive. Like when you let it grow up and you try to cut it down to build stuff out of it. So I got a whole bunch of a bunch of seeds, because I found out that if you buy them in seeds, obviously they're like 2 cents a seed. And then you have to spend the next 20 years growing them, but after they grow up, then now you have a tree that once you cut it down, it'll fucking give you thousands and thousands of dollars worth of wood, because it's Chinese white pine, and that shit is like Chinese white pine trees grow inside of very rocky soil. They grow out of the side of mountains and stuff like that. So you have to imagine if you're a little pine tree and you're growing out the side of a mountain, you don't have very much room to grow, so the tree stays relatively small. And that's pretty much what these are. A lot of people, I bought them to turn them into bonsais, but a lot of people turn them into bonsais because of the fact that the tree naturally itself is designed to grow in places where it has little water, little soil, little nutrients, but can still grow. And so then it grows this big old thick tree, but it's real small. And that's pretty much what you're trying to do with bonsais anyways. So I purchased a bunch of them, and I grew a bunch of them. And as of right now, I've only got 3 survivors. Technically I have 5, but 3 of them that are surviving to the point where they're growing. They're nice and tall. They actually have fucking bark growing on their trunk here, which showingly proves to me that it is growing, like it's alive, it's growing, it's a thing. But I put it in this little container. It's got these little rocks laying around the outsides and stuff, and it's just kind of gave it a little bit of a landscape. And then I have 2 of them inside that are growing, wrapping around each other, which is freaking awesome. And then I have 2 of them that are inside of my ant cage, but they haven't been getting a whole lot of light recently, so all my plants are dying, and now the trees seem to be alive because obviously they are very resilient plants. Pine trees can grow in pretty much anything, but I definitely need to get some light and water inside my ant cage a lot more recent and faster than I have been. Everything of corn that I planted died or got ate. There's been an animal running around eating out all of my corn everywhere, and then for some reason every time I grow corn, it grows to a specific height and then it dies, and it's not a seasonal thing. This is the only one I have left, which actually I'm just now realizing there's actually a second one sprouting down here at the bottom, which is just funny because that means I've got 2 corn sprouting. But if you know anything about corn or how corn's supposed to work, you're supposed to have corn up to your kneecaps by the time 4th of July hits. And obviously this corn's just now growing, so that means probably by the time winter even comes, I'm just going to be having corn done. So it's going to be like fall crop, which usually is more used for feed than it is for it's used for animal feed more or less than it is used for people feed. So I might either have to do that or save the kernels for corn next year, or maybe I get lucky and they grow and I might get at least one harvest that would be edible. I have no idea, but you can see the big collection of plants here. This tub back here is full of shit water, which is funny, but that is all the water from my turtle cage. I gets put in that back container back there. The rainwater adds to it, dilutes it a little bit, and then I put it on the plants and they grow. That way they get the nutrients they need, because turtle poop actually is very rich in nutrients for plants, and they love growing in it. So, back there, trailer. I have it's a mess. I apologize for this. Had to do some forge work for some guy, buddy of mine, but I do some forging work, so I had everything out. But yeah, so I got the Aquaponics Farm, I've got the bucket farm, and I got the standard grow in the ground farm. So hopefully everybody liked this video. If you did, a like would be much appreciated. If you're new to the channel, I would consider subscribing to keep up with cool, awesome content like this one. And if you're already part of the channel, you could share the video and show other people how exciting it was to finally see Matt Freeman's garden after 2.5 months of not showing it, even though I totally said that I was going to show you it on a more weekly basis. So, or on a more, I guess, weekly basis, so that way you actually could see the evolution of growth, henceforth the same with me. But then I fucked all that up, and now here we are with already completely fully grown plants and running out of season, and I'm just now recording videos. So you probably will see another one in the future whenever I dig up the potatoes, see how many potatoes I actually yield with, when I pick cucumbers, so on and so forth. I'll probably bring you along for that, but for the most part, that's where we're at, that's where we're gonna be, and I'll see you guys next time for the next one. I love you. I'm glad you tuned in. I haven't made a video for a while. I really need to. And look at this awesome hair. Goodbye.